Hi, Cheryl and John are here, and we are here as in Valencia, Spain. We made it. We've been here for about 3 days, and it kind of feels like, I don't know, like it's been a while. It hasn't been very long. I don't know, a combination of things. But we wanted to come in and just give you an update on like what the first 3 days have been like, and just help you kind of see what we're up to, and so you can follow along with where we are and what's next for us. So, what's the first 3 days been like for you, John?
Oh, I'm not quite sure how to explain it, but it's. I can't believe I'm actually here. I mean, we've been talking about this for how many months, how many years, and actually landing here. And we've been to Valencia before, and it feels natural. And it's funny because it's like I make relations, with. Make relationships with my experience living in Chicago, and I look at the different neighborhoods, and it's like, oh, this is near North Side. Oh, this is Lakeview. Oh, this is Rogers Park. So there's a lot of, anyway, we're here, and it's I don't know. I'm not stressed out. It just feels natural right now.
Totally agree. The not stressed out is huge. Just feel like here we are. We're figuring it out. No pressure, no stress. I'll have to say people have been pretty nice and welcoming. I think people, if you paid attention to Spain, there have been some issues in Barcelona and issues in Ibiza and Mallorca with tourism. And I think actually I heard this weekend there's supposed to be an anti-tourism tourist protest here in Valencia as well, which I heard about last night. We went to this expat event and met some other people who have already done what we've done or are thinking about it. And and as we talked about it, I think what people are protesting is the rude, entitled approach to coming and living somewhere else versus how do you integrate, how do you assimilate. And that's really what we're trying to do. And when you try to speak the language, try to really let people know you're here to try to be one of them as much as you can. They're way more welcoming and supportive as we try to navigate anything that comes up. So our plan for the first 2 months, I think we've mentioned this before. So we got here Tuesday. We're here for 2 months to really figure out what our longer term plan is. Where do we want to live? As John mentioned, exploring the different neighborhoods, and then hopefully trying to find something we could rent before we leave. Going to go home for Christmas and then come back and move into whatever place that is. So that is what our goal is. We'll see how that works. But John, why don't you what's like one or two things that you've noticed, surprised you, that you weren't expecting, or just that you think is kind of a cool lesson or something that you want to share?
Simplicity. Mm-hmm. The one thing I've noticed that going into the grocery store, like the grocery stores are so much smaller. We don't have Costco here. Like Costco, it's not even like a concept, a thought, or something that's needed out here. But you go into a grocery store, and it's funny because you sit there and I need paper towels. Well, guess what? I've got one selection of paper towels. Like that's it. And it comes in either 3 rolls, one big roll, or one bigger roll. That's it. There's not 20 different brands to choose from. And therefore, it only takes up a small amount of space on the aisle, and nobody's paying for what shelf or visibility in the grocery store. So yeah, that's one thing I find. I mean, really, it just makes life so much more simple.
Can I add to that? I noticed too that in the United States, in the grocery store, in the middle at eye level is the thing they want you to push, maybe the most expensive thing, and the cheaper things are at the very bottom. Here, the least expensive thing is front and center. They're not trying to push something on you because they're going to make the most margin. So I thought that was kind of interesting too. Just look in the middle for the least expensive thing, since we don't know the difference in the 3 versions of whatever product might be there. Just choose that one at this point anyway.
Yeah, and the other thing I noticed, going about the route of food, is there's these markets or little like mom and pop stores that have fresh fruit and vegetables seems like every half block or so. And it's a wonderful thing because, I mean, in order to get, fresh food out here, or fresh fruit or fresh vegetables, usually you're paying an arm and a leg. And here you've got mom and pop just doing their thing, and it's so damn cheap. And I don't know if they're competing with grocery stores or what the story is, but yeah, I mean, we're just trying to figure out, like, okay, great. Cheryl's found the benchmark comparing the price of a cucumber, in a grocery store to mom and pop, or different mom and pop's priced differently, which is funny because usually that's my thing, trying to figure out where the best deal is. But, on top of, seeing that, the other thing that I noticed is everything is so, I don't want to say inexpensive, but just relative to, the United States. Like today I had to go out and get, a 6-pack of batteries. It cost me €1.5. Still trying to figure out how to say that, but yeah, just, I don't know. I'm loving it so far.
Yeah, on that note, so we went out last night, I mentioned, and met up with some people, and I paid the same for 2 glasses of wine and a snack, actually less for 2 glasses of wine and a snack than I would pay for a glass of wine at home. It's insane, and it's just the way it is. So that's pretty exciting too.
Yeah, I'm usually like, you mischarged me. Like, no, it's €2. Or €3, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. So the other thing that's kind of interesting, as I'd mentioned, we're navigating neighborhoods, we're exploring, we're trying to just kind of branch out and figure out, well, what neighborhoods do we want to look at more, do we not like? And the interesting thing is, the Spanish schedule is very different than our schedule in the United States, where, they have their work day. Everybody's familiar with the siesta, which isn't what it used to be. The siesta was kind of a rest period between jobs back when Franco was running the show, and they would come home, eat, take a nap, and go to job number 2. Now that Spain is, because of so much more international work, people have to, or they do, abide by more consistent work rules, and obviously the 2-job thing isn't as big a deal as it was. And so the siesta isn't really this 3-hour thing that used to be. But lunch is still, 2 to 4-ish. And so things are open differently, right? And so, the stores will close probably between 4 and 6, while the people who are running the 2 to 4, the lunch place, go have their own meal. Or they're only open during the morning, and they may not be open later in the day. So the hours of things are inconsistent. You'll walk by shops and they're all closed up, and you have no idea what's even in there until later in the day. All of a sudden the doors roll up and you're like, oh, that's a clothing shop, or oh, it's a restaurant. So trying to figure out when the things are open. John has still not seen any stores for men's clothing. There have been quite a few boutiques for women's clothing. No men's clothing stores. We're looking for things like yoga mats, a lock for the locker at the gym, a few other things that we just have not seen yet. Maybe buy some scooters, because there's a lot of scooters around here. But we haven't seen those yet. So it might just be we're out and about when those stores aren't open. So just something else we need to navigate and make sure we just kind of know what that looks like. And maybe Saturday everything will be open. So we'll have to check that out and see. But I thought that's kind of interesting as well.
Yeah, and that's more in the neighborhoods. I mean, in the tourist areas, as we get closer to the city center, you see most of the stores open. Because obviously, as tourists, we want to see things open. But we're trying to avoid all of that, and like Cheryl said, become integrated. With the Spanish culture. But yeah, it's weird because you'll walk down the street and it seems like, 1 out of 3 storefronts are open, and then you at 10 o'clock in the morning, then you walk by at 4 o'clock or 10 o'clock, and it's an entirely different set of stores that are open. I think yesterday we were walking around at night and it was like, oh, I've never seen that before. And but yeah, as Cheryl said, I'm still looking for a men's clothing store. H&M was the only thing that was open, and that was closer to the city center, and I'm too damn old to wear H&M skinny pants. So yeah, I'll keep you up to speed as if I find it.
Yeah, yep, good point. So yeah, so we're just trying to get into a routine. One thing we did do this week to kind of help with that, we joined a gym like the first day we were here because we figured, okay, if we want to just kind of maintain a routine, stay healthy and active. Not that we're not walking a ridiculous amount of miles every day right now, exploring, but that was one thing that was going to enable us to get into that routine as well. So that's what we're about right now, getting into a routine. And really figuring out how we want to work. We work U.S. hours a lot of the time, so does that mean an afternoon working versus morning, or how do we mix that up? And then, other thing we've been talking about is, we both run multiple businesses, and how do we integrate those? How do we optimize those and bring the most value based on what our clients are looking for, so that we can leverage our experience more effectively to support our clients, as well as have more time, right? Because that's what this is all about. So that is what we have going on. We are excited for everything we're going to find next. And yeah, it's the weekend. So we haven't been here for a weekend yet. So we're kind of excited for that too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, in fact, our weekend starts in about 20 minutes.
All right. Well, thanks for watching. Drop your questions, comments. We'd love to hear them, and we'd love to answer whatever we can. So, see you next time. Hasta luego.
Adios. No. Hasta luego.